Like the third person in several months has asked me about interracial dating and what my feelings were about it. And I was just like, so what are your feelings? Like, what's the deal? What's this thing? What's going on? So apparently, it's a topic these days. And I see a lot of people feel that when it comes to interracial couples, what's happening is that I'll speak specifically for people's fears when they speak about it in regards to the black community. They talk about it being diluted. Like there's a conspiracy for black folk to stray away from breeding within the black community. And I'm using the word breeding on purpose because the way we talk about it, it's very fucking mechanical to begin with. Like we just need to make more black people. White people feel like they need to make more white people. The people who have these fears and concerns. Because there's white people that fear that their race is dwindling. They feel like they're being fucking diluted. My thing with all this race shit is that I understand that race matters to people. I get it. But understand that something's always going to matter to us dumbass humans when it comes to physical appearances. If everybody was one color, human beings would still find a way to discriminate. It's glaringly obvious to me that whatever genetic differences that exist between blacks, whites, Asians, whatever, these genetic differences are not so grand that they change anything significant about the bottom line with a human being. What is the fucking bottom line? Security and love, really. We all want people around us that make us feel good. And we want a certainty that we can have it in fucking perpetuity. When it comes to this race shit, I feel like we're zooming in too much. Our attention is being captured just by that superficial shit. The reason why this race shit's a joke is because right now in 2019, with all these different ethnicities around, I'm seeing more than I've been around. Man, from fucking early 20s on down, I've come in contact with more different cultures, more races than I did throughout my entire life until when I got fucking catapulted out of New Orleans. From then on, I'm just meeting so many different kinds of people. And then from then on, I'm just reading about so many different kinds of things historically. Human beings just fucking suck and we just focus on the physical so much. I'll grant you that there's black men that hate black women. Without a doubt. That have something against black women. Or they know that a lighter skinned woman or a non-black woman has more of a social currency. 100% that's the case. But similar to the black woman who only likes a particular kind of guy, if I'm single, what do I say to that black woman, to that group of women? Do I continue to go after the black woman that only wants the fucking athlete? Or do I say, that's what y'all want? Alright, whatever. Get the fuck and move on. You might say it's not that easy. If you're a black woman, you have limited options and all these black men are going to these white women. But I'm saying, you didn't want them to begin with. You don't want them. If they truly don't find a black woman attractive, if they truly have something against black women for like intrinsic reasons, as if like something's wrong with a black woman no matter what, not cultural, but just because there's something in a black woman that there's on, that's just, they're fucking racist. I'm talking about the black men. If there's black men feeling that way, they're fucking racist. They're fucking, they are mistaken. Because it's obvious that anybody could be any kind of way if they happen to grow up in a particular kind of environment. But we're all guilty of this superficiality, is my point. My point is, it might be especially egregious for somebody to have a hatred towards someone, to the people within their race, because of their own hatred towards themselves, or because of this sense of inferiority. That's especially egregious. I will admit that, but even when it's not about race, we're superficial as fuck, and we're thinking about the social currency of it all in some form or fashion. Race just happens to have it happens to be especially egregious considering history. But my thing is about the dilution of black people. Black people are diluting other people. Black genes are strong as fuck. Do you see the difference between American black people and actual Africans? If you got any milkiness in you, motherfucker, there's some white in you. There's multiracial. It's such a joke. I always thought that was such a fucking joke when it was like, I remember when Obama first came to the scene, and there was some people even just being like, non-black people were like, well, he's technically biracial. I'm imitating this one guy in particular that I heard say that, and he did sound like that. He really did sound like that. I'm not trying to stereotype every white male. And I just remember thinking, motherfucker, come to where I grew up. No one's, like, my friends weren't biracial, meaning one black parent, one white parent. But if we're being technical, then like, a huge chunk of the black community is multiracial. Any light-skinned motherfucking black person is multiracial for the most. And then both their parents are black. See, what happens when what happens is, for some people who don't understand this, because it really blows my mind when I see like non-black people look at somebody like Drake, or someone that even looks even more ambiguous than Drake, because Drake looks like a black man to me. He's just, his skin is vanilla or whatever. But let's say go vanilla skin, and let's even go with like a little less characteristics that might be obviously African. Motherfucker, we go about a one drop rule in this bitch. Do y'all know what the one drop rule is? The one drop rule, the standard set by America, is that if your ass got any African ancestry, and it is perceivable through your physical characteristics, your ass is black. It don't matter how white you are. It don't matter how fucking the texture of your hair. If you got African features of any kind, and you also have African ancestry, then it's like, wham bam, you're black, motherfucker. That's what we've been doing this entire time. And in a very perverse way, that helped blacks out. That wasn't its intention. The intention of the one drop rule was to maintain the purity of the white race and to keep anything remotely African relegated to the margins of society. But it helped us. Black people don't need to be fucking fighting over shades and shit, over colors and light-skinnedness and non-light-skinned. I know it's a problem. I know black women that told you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl and shit. That's fucked up. There's black people that legitimately believe that dark-skinnedness, African features and shit are unattractive because they got some fucking issues. Because let me tell you something. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Obviously, African people are beautiful. You're just like, what are you talking about to say any group of people doesn't have beautiful people within it? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? How can you look at a fucking African woman or look at the African race? I'm talking about the pure Africans and not see beauty. You are out of your fucking mind. You are completely and utterly brainwashed. You're just not fucking... Something's polluted your mind if you don't see the beauty. Like, like, for instance, when you hear Asian men be desexualized and spoken about as if a lot of women that are Asian, I've heard say they're not attracted to Asian men in America. Or just people, or just non-Asian women say they're not attracted to Asian men. But hold on, it's like, okay, wait a minute. Like, if you're not attracted to Asian men, you talking about appearance or behavior? Because, like, because there's some fucking Asian thugs and shit. Like, depending upon where an Asian dude grew up, he might be one way or the other. And if you're saying that culturally, the way that Asian men are, it's not compatible with you, fine. But if you're talking about pure looks, just the way they look, what the fuck are you talking about? Obviously, there's handsome Asian men. Obviously. So you have to, like, gotta get specific, man. Like, it's with black women. I've stated grievances about black culture before. I've had issues with. First of all, I hate everyone. I got issues with quote unquote white culture, quote unquote black culture. I got issues with everything. But also, I see the great and the awesomeness in everything. And so with black women. This is a fucking touchy subject. With black culture in general, I understand if you're like let's say if you're a black dude and you're a Poindexter or whatever. Yes, there's nerdy black women that would be compatible with you, but especially in certain environments, you're probably shit out of luck. In certain environments where that's really, 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 really frowned upon, in your less welcoming black communities, your less open-minded ones. Yeah, the shit that you like and the way that you want to be, if it deviates from the norm of a black man, yeah, black women probably ain't gonna find your ass attractive. Maybe, but these days, I don't know how you can't find anybody. That was in the past, though. On some real shit. That was in the past. It's especially hard. I used to have this grievance before Tinder and before all these opportunities to meet various kinds of people. That's when my gripes about the black culture came in and shit with black women. It was always a thing about their viewpoints and belief system as opposed to their physicality. Black women are fucking beautiful. Like, if you think otherwise, I think you are full of shit somehow. I'm talking about from the darkest of dark to the fucking albino of albino. Black women are beautiful, obviously. And here's my thing. Anything that you don't like about a fucking person, no matter what race they are, it's in all likelihood, I'm not saying with a certainty this is the case, but in all likelihood, I would say usually it's because it's a cultural reason. What I'm saying is if you want to make blanket statements and be like, I don't like Indian women because they're this and that. Well, what do you mean? You don't like Indian women from India? Or do you not like the Indian woman from Seattle, the one Indian woman from Florida, the other Indian woman from fucking Indianapolis? What are you talking about? So they're all the same? No, they're not all the fucking same. That's when you just have these wrong ideas about race. You think your genetics dictate every damn thing about you. Your race dictates everything about you. That's just superstition. That's just a very archaic and unhealthy way of looking at things. I feel like we just be worried about the wrong shit. And a lot of times we do not acknowledge, we don't ever fucking acknowledge that the people we're attracted to is usually because we are taking into consideration how society will look at us, how our networks, how our peers will look at us. That tends to be why we get with who we get with, why we pursue who we pursue. They're a bit of a trophy. We understand how important it is to appear a certain way, to have that credibility as a smart person, attractive person, a worthy person. I'm worthy. Isn't my partner beautiful? You can't, you can act like that shit don't factor in. Hell yeah, that factors in. That's why everybody be rushing into marriage and shit. You're gonna rush into, why are people rushing into marriage so hard? Please. They're trying to fucking validate their existence amongst their peer groups. Parents and stuff are constantly telling their children, especially their female kids, when you gonna get married, when you gonna have kids, when you gonna do this, when you gonna do that, I want some grandkids, I want this and that. Children traditionally, historically, have been the point of it all. We're just now getting to this territory where it's like, wait a minute, I could live a life, I don't have to live a conventional life, I don't have to get married and have kids. Or I can wait a little bit longer than people before me did. It's kind of new. And then again, it's that religiosity that messes a lot of shit up. Which is funny. There's a weird thing going on. People are less religious, but they're still religious. But they're assholes more than ever, it seems. Like, I don't see the spirit of Christ in Christians these days. I don't. I see a lot of hypocrisy, a lot of being judgmental. I don't see the love your neighbor as yourself too much. I really don't. I see ugliness more than ever. There's a lot of ugliness amongst so-called Christians. That's because just letting Jesus take the wheel ain't enough sometimes. Sometimes you have to understand your humanity and realize that you ain't shit. Here's the thing. You should realize you ain't shit if you're a Christian. If you're a Christian, you should have that perspective that I am a sinful fool. I am in this. Even if you think that God validates your existence, that you are worthy because God is on your side, you also need to recognize that, aren't you in that cursed shell? Aren't you always susceptible to sin? But people be walking around like this shit don't stink. Judge not lest ye be judged. Yeah, fucking right. All the virtues the New Testament talks about, patience and the love and loving your neighbor as yourself. Phew, Christians are full of shit. That's because you're a human being and we're all full of shit. I can't stress that enough. I'm not going to like a nihilistic conclusion either. I think we can have a utopia. And I'm talking about socially. I think that the idea, this fear, like it'll all be so boring if it's much more harmonious. What you think heaven gonna be then? You think it's all gonna be so boring? Your ass better not believe in heaven. Your ass better not believe in heaven if you think harmony is boring. You better be hoping for hell. Shit, get your kicks in limbo. The fuck are you talking about? We're so stupid. We're backwards as hell, man. We are so fucking backwards. We got Christians on the right that believe and love a man that runs our country who is antagonistic, mean-spirited. He lies. He slanders. He's an adulterer. Doesn't fucking matter. I knew Christians were full of shit when it came to politics when Mitt Romney was running against Obama, because Mitt Romney was a Mormon. And in, I think it's Galatians verse 8. I think it's Galatians verse 8. I think. Oh, Galatians 8 verse 1. Nah, it has to be Galatians 1 verse 8. But if I or an angel from heaven preaches you a different gospel, if I or an angel from heaven comes down and preaches you a different gospel, then let a curse fall upon us and let us be condemned or something like that. Mormonism is a different gospel. You could say Mitt Romney's not preaching it to me. You better believe his Mormonism informs his belief system. And I mean, if I'm a real deal Christian, I don't want no fucking Mormon infiltrating. I don't want a Mormon running shit. If I'm a Christian, I don't want any non-Christian running shit. If I'm like a let's go kind of Christian, this Christian thing is where it's at. And don't act like there's a separation of church and state when it comes to that which informs our opinions and our views. Like, there's no separation of church. There might be a separation of church and state extrinsically, but in your fucking mind, there's not a separation of church and state. You're not looking at things in a non-religious way. Your religion's going to color and inform your viewpoints and your decisions. And Mormonism is a pretty specific one. That's I don't know how you don't call into the reason why his credibility wasn't called into question is because he's running against a black man. Let's be real. Let's be all the way real with that shit. But I guess you can technically say Mitt Romney wasn't preaching a different gospel. So, he doesn't need to be condemned. But that still is a very accusatory towards Mormons in general. Because you better believe that Mormons do that. They are preaching a different gospel than the New Testament. And so, you would think there should be some beef there. Ain't no fucking beef, because we're full of shit. I started out talking about interracial dating, the perception of black people being diluted. Look, we can't give a fuck anymore about consensual adults getting together, no matter what gender or race they are. Stop acting like you give a fuck about the collection of people. No one cares about their group anymore. They care about their specific group, whether it's their family, their party, their their little, my Silicon Valley friends, my lawyer friend, like whatever the fuck. You care about your particular specific tribe. There ain't no damn unity with white people. There ain't no damn unity with black people. Ain't no unity nowhere in this country. People aren't united like that. It's just whatever. It's just whenever it's convenient for us to all get with each other and fight against, and it's like us versus them. Sometimes that's how it goes. It's a little bit more specific now. I think it's a lot of mentalities. I think we're gonna eventually become just more and more separated by different mentalities. There's gonna be the people that are gonna always have some kind of superstitious logic to their actions. And there's the people that are gonna, like me, who are like, fuck superstition, be reasonable, make sense. And then you're gonna have the people who are dedicated to this religion, that religion, different colors. You're gonna have the people, just the gamers, the people who think women are ruining things, the women who think men are ruining things. You're just gonna have these separations, man, of mentalities, of viewpoints. That race shit is just filler. It's just filler. What do they think? It's not about a black man getting with a white woman. They fell in love, motherfucker. But did he fall in? They're like, I will grant you that there's some black men that will only get with a white woman because they have these preconceived notions that I find erroneous, that I think they're wrong, where they just have this generic idea that all black women are X, Y, and Z, which is not true. You can, again, I don't mind criticizing cultural norms and certain kinds of perspectives due to an upbringing, due to environmental reasons, but I don't claim anybody as any kind of way for genetic reasons. It seems obvious that they're not, man. And even if they are, it's never something that's so significant that it's a game changer. Is it ever a fucking game changer? It's not. We all just want love, harmony, security. Obviously. So stop just I just feel like we're wasting time worried about this, thinking about it in any other way. We always taking 20 steps back. That's why this human shit is a pursuit. It's an aspiration. Because we're so primitive. Thinking we're so fucking sophisticated and smart. We're not, man. We should be striving to be. Constantly striving to be. But when we think we're already there, then we'll never move.